Hello, this is Mezaka. You probably saw me posting this new image yesterday, and I created this during a silent stream, so I didn't talk about anything what I did there. So now I have the footage from the stream, and we will go through it, and maybe see some of the techniques I used to create this nice and really cool image. So let's start with that. So this is starting from an image that I did before this, where Wally has a flashlight in the hand, and you just now see me positioning him properly, and we will slow down right here because here I used the existing wallpaper that I based this image on to position him properly, and you can just set the view mode to camera so that you actually have the background image in the camera view, which is really nice if you're working based on an existing image. So now you see me just moving him around and setting the right pose to him so that he really fits the image. And then I add some planes where I want the trash to go, because Wally lives on this trashy Earth planet, and these planes will get particle systems, so I already have that idea in mind. So now I start creating new trash elements, and for the rocks I used a technique that I learned from a Gleb Alexandrov tutorial using a bisect and just a spherical shape. You can create really nice rocks. I will link that in the description as well. For the cage, I used a wireframe modifier, which is really handy for cages and that kind of stuff. And for the cables, which I didn't include in the final image, but I created them using curves, which is really handy as well. And now I'm setting up the particle systems for the planes so that our trash actually is in the scene. And that wasn't too hard to do, just a simple emitter without any physics. And I actually ended up creating 3 different particle systems for 3 different particle sizes. So I have one for very big trash, for the cages and stuff, one for the very small stuff, and one for the medium-sized ones. And this is, I guess, really it for the modeling part. I created this bag for Wally as well, but that wasn't too hard to do. I guess you can figure it out on your own. Yeah, that's the modeling part. Okay, so let's look at the light that's set up right in Blender. I normally just use one simple sun lamp, but here we have actually 3 lights and the sky around us that all add to the light we have going on in the final scene. So let's start with this hemisphere light at the right hand side, which is responsible for this bluish kind of tone on the shadows on the right hand side. So it's quite strong, and I place it to just get that nice bluish effect. Then there's a whitish key light from above, which you can mainly see on the top part of Wally, because here this is very bright and whitish. Also the hands have a bit of that key light, and you can also see some details over here. But that isn't the most important light. I guess the most important light is the backlight back here, which is very orangish and strong to give a high contrast to the blue on the other side. Okay, and this is quite horizontal and coming a bit from the back, so that it really creates a nice atmosphere. So those are our 3 lights that actually light Wally up. But Wally has also some highlights. I wanted to do real highlights first, but I ended up faking them because it was a bit too hard to do. I couldn't position the light properly. And on the back side I painted this nice sky. I will show you some footage in a second, but I want to show you that I also have a particle system over here for the stars, which are really important, and I will show you the materials for those as well. And this is just a sphere that I can paint on if I want to, but it's important to flip the normals around if you want to do that. Okay, So here you can just see me painting on this sphere. I'm painting from the inside, so I had to flip the normals. And I'm just painting some very smooth strokes. If you look at the left-hand side, you can see that I have a very soft brush, and I'm painting some pinks, some oranges. And I'm actually painting the clouds as well with some highlights, but they are not too detailed at all. Okay, and after that I was painting from the outside, so I had to flip the normals again, and I'm painting just a very generic bluish pinkish tone to get some environment lighting going later on. And that was essentially it. Later on I added a very strong blue strike to make the image more appealing, but that was just a minor tweak. After I finished that, I wanted to color the trash that is a bit more backwards, a bit more orangish. And so I opened the Compositor and added a Z buffer type of fog. But you can actually see how I did it in my Lowpoly tutorial, like the very old first one. And yeah, so I tweaked that later on a bit, but essentially it made a smooth transition between the trash and the sky. After this I worked a bit on the stars, and if you want to have a look at this material, it's very simply set up. So I have an emission shader, which has a color that is based on a mix between a whitish color for the center and, well, some blues and oranges that I got from the color ramp and the random object info, so that it picks a random either orange or bluish color. And for the mix I used the Fresnel, which essentially makes the outer part very orangish and the center very whitish, which is what stars essentially look like. And in the end I did some color grading in the Compositor, so I added a bit bluish tone in the dark spots and made them a bit darker as well. I used a quite neutral color for the midtones and a orangish one for the highlights. And after that I also added some blur to create some blur around the bright spots of the image. And that was essentially it. So I hope you enjoy this image as much as I do. And well, see you next time for the next image.